Hi, this is Savannah from Chicken Soup for the Truth or Soul, and today we're going to be discussing the curious cover-up of John Erik Hexum. Now, John Erik Hexum was a very famous star in the very early 80s. He only had a short stint in Hollywood, and he went on to have a very mysterious gunshot-induced suicide. And I'm going to be discussing what led up to that and the possibility that what was reported in the media may not be exactly what happened. So without further ado, we're going to head into his early years. So he grew up in Tenafly, New Jersey, and attended a high school of the same name. He went on to work at a radio station at college, as well as majoring in biomedical engineering. And from there, he went on to Hollywood by way of the supermodel route. He was a very early male supermodel with a very unique physique, which set him apart. And without further ado, we're going to head into the video, and I'm going to single out several timestamps to sort of highlight his background, sort of set the stage for what was yet to come. So this is John Erik Hexum when he was a baby. Not the best picture, but that's him. And then this is him when he was a little boy. And you can kind of see that he has a streak in him that looks sort of mischievous. I don't know if it's obvious, or maybe I'm misinterpreting the photo. Yeah, looks like he might be cut out for some sort of dramatic career and roles, which he would play. Then here's him as a preteen here. Looks sort of zoned out there. And then here's him in his high school years. Here's him. I found this relevant. So he also worked at a newspaper at his high school, and there was a story that came out in the newspaper that he published, and it was a story about him being kidnapped. And to me, I see this as some sort of fun fanfare hoaxery that would set the stage for this disappearing act that he made later. And I just find it ironic and hopefully not coincidental, but at the same time, it would be consoling to know that this was just a coincidence, but I don't think so. And yeah, so he pulled a hoax. He pulled a hoax, a very good one. Then we're gonna go to, yeah, that's the full article of this printout in the newsletter at his high school, and the caption reads, "Caught in a bind." Yeah, well, I guess so, because when you sell out, you kind of are sort of tying yourself up there in circumstances. And here is him in college. This is his fraternity house. I found this interesting because a lot of times when you make these fraternal oaths in college, it leads to a stepping stone to Freemasonry. And so I noted that of importance because he probably went from Delta Tau Delta to the free and accepted Masons, most likely, as he excelled through his career to come. And then this is the last picture I'm going to show here. This is him right before he made it big. He was in college and he just left, and he was a part of the drama department, which I also found relevant. He seemed to like drama. He liked to be mischievous. He liked to play pranks, seeing a sort of a theme here. So, yeah. Yes. Indeed, he liked to play pranks. Mr. Hexum. And oh yeah, that name. Let's talk about that for a little bit of a second. Hexum. So the word Hexum, obviously it has the word hex. Hex is like to perform a sort of like binding spell, I believe, on someone. Sort of catch them up and ironically tie them up, like how he was tied up in that newspaper printout of that hoax disappearance. And meaning them, so hex them, so put a hex on them, is literally his name. This was his stage name that he chose when he went to Hollywood. So that's just important to me to note. Just want to highlight for a second, this is what he ended up looking like. Compared to that last picture, you can see how he transformed immensely. I tried my hardest not to put any racy photos, but it was almost impossible, so I just gave up in that regard, because there was all the photos of him where he was wearing something, covering everything. It seemed as though it didn't capture his essence as well, and so that's sort of a lame excuse, but I don't think it would have shown off just how much this person changed when they went to become famous in Hollywood, because they really changed. And I'm going to show just how much in a second in a few snippets from a movie they did during the highlight of their career. This is them again. This is, to me, as racy as it gets without being like inappropriate. You can see that he was breakthrough in modeling at the time. I don't think anybody else really had this look before him at all. I really don't. They seem to have a unique look, but I could be wrong. This is some of the shows that he worked on and movies. He didn't really get to work on that much while he was in Hollywood. He had a short tenure, and that tenure includes Voyagers, Voyager from the Unknown, Making of a Male Model, Hotel, The Bear Pat, and last but not least, Cover Up. And yeah, his last ever piece of work was called cover-up. Unbelievable, right? Well, we're going to look at some snippets from this movie, Making of a Male Model. And it was really hard to find because I had saved it previously and then it got taken down, so I had to relocate it. Okay. I'm gonna show little snippets of it. So,
not to mention insane models.
Leo, you picked them.
Yeah? For looks only.
Honey, in this business, that's the only reason anyone ever picks them, sadly.
Ah, the mother hen.
That's right. Plane will be here any minute.
Makeup in here, clear? All right, kids, give me the moment.
That ain't so bad, Tyler. Last month you blew your whole paycheck just learning how to fly.
Sven. Bring your camera, Sven.
You're some pilot, Tyler. Can you teach me how to do that?
Nope. I was going to do a loop for you, Alma, but I didn't get the chance.
Seems to me you were lucky you didn't.
Mom and I thought you were going to kill yourself.
Oh, hey, I wouldn't do that. I mean to die in bed.
Excuse me. May I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
So they crash land literally into a new career, and the character played by Joan Collins, who you just saw leave at screen right, decides to take a small town boy, sort of like himself in real life, and transform him into a star overnight. And next thing you know, he is living in New York, set up in his own apartment, and he meets a guy there who was once Joan Collins' character's original protege and upcoming male model, and he's gonna give him some words of wisdom on, some pitfalls to avoid.
A little tricky at times. Yeah? Tell me about it.
Scene. Yellow Brick Road, somewhere in New York. Curtain up, Act 1. You've just arrived in town. You're young, hungry, and anxious. And you die for that first job. But you don't give up easily, no. Instead, you say to yourself, I'm gonna make it. Even if I have to lie on a couch with someone. Just like in those terrible, ugly stories you've heard about female models and starlets. But notwithstanding, to bed or not to bed. Sometimes, somehow, it really does happen. Oh, you get your first job, and your second, and you get your third. Very important third. Which brings us to Act 2. Oh, stardom and success. Success beyond imagination, where suddenly everybody wants you. We want him. Sign him. Get him.
What about Act 3?
That's, nobody wants you anymore. When you go back to dying. Oh, welcome, Tyler. Good luck in your eyes.
Yeah, so his roommate relates to him the true realities of the modeling world, what it really takes to make it. And he's sort of sobered by that, but he's not at all discouraged, as one should be. Now, I'm going to point out something that I just noticed, and something that I was going to point out in the next video I was going to show. But if you look closely at his pupils, you'll notice that his pupils are not round, they are slits. That's a sidebar. But anyway, clearly when people sign contracts, which she did in real life, there are spiritual ramifications that come with it. So that being said, we're going to move on to the next scene when he goes to his first photo shoot.
See what we have wrought. Well, I hate to say it, but you two are worth the obscene amount of money that you charge.
Was that a compliment?
I believe it was. Let's go celebrate with a diet drink.
So, what do you think of yourself?
I don't know. I'm not sure it's me. On the other hand, it's not supposed to be, is it? I read somewhere that in this business you people are selling illusions.
Well, that's one theory. I have another. Oh, today's male model is the new sex symbol. For men, someone to emulate. For women, the private Adonis, the ultimate fantasy lover. Look around, you see it everywhere. The male body running rampant and beautiful and selling everything, everywhere. So I say, here's to that body, to those biceps and those triceps and all those other muscles that go bang on billboards and magazine covers and calendars and posters. Join me in the toast.
To good legs.
And a white on white smile. See, what it all adds up to is a return of that good old American commodity known as lust. Only this time, it's turned around with the accent on you men.
Lust.
Mm-hmm. Low down, but high tone. Heated, but harmless. Lust.
You sure say it real easy.
Do I? It's not that easy to come by. Commercially speaking, that is. But you and I are going to have one hell of a try, Mr. Tyler Burnett. You know something? I think we're going to make it.
Yeah. So apparently lust is not only a commodity, but it just rolls off the tongue like butter. And lust obviously is a sin, but that is what they're creating in Hollywood. That good old black magic. I think Frank Sinatra made a song by the name of Old Black Magic, but this is what they're really all about in Hollywood, and it's sort of disturbing to see them tell the entire story before your very eyes. With that being said, we're going to move on to his second photo shoot.
On the end, put your hand in your pocket. No, the other hand. All right. Amanda, put your arm through his and lean on him. And give me a big, big smile.
What's the matter with you?
I'm a little weak in the knees.
I always get the beginners.
You know, as soon as you two stop socializing, maybe we can take a couple of shots. Would you move this 6 light in, please? Put your hand in your pocket. You don't have a good memory, do you? Laurie, would you blot him off a little bit? Yeah. All right. Blondie, you on this end. Just move in. Atta girl. Atta girl. Okay, now everybody stand still and let's have a big smile. Fire. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now we're going. Now we're on a roll. Keep smiling. Now. Aha. We're on a roll. Okay. Now you two on the ends. Get out, will you? Just get out. Ned and Amanda, you stay right there. Laurie, we're going to move in a little bit now, so let's get some bounce light out here, okay?
Want an orange?
Yeah. Thanks.
I always bring fruit to these sessions for energy.
Use some of that. I keep standing so still. My legs were starting to shake.
Just bend your knees a little, especially between shots. It helps.
Doing this long?
A year. You?
First job. You like it?
Well, it's not exactly what I imagined back in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? You wouldn't want to maybe go out with me sometime, would you?
I'd like to, but I'm going to California at the end of the week. I'm going to try to work out there.
Hey, Burnett, you better get ready for your next change. Marty says he'll be ready for you in 5 minutes. And Linda, I forgot to tell you. You can go now. It was nice work.
Well, thanks for the orange.
Sure. Good luck.
I hear they grow them out there.
What?
Oranges. In California.
Oh, yeah. Take care, Tyler. I hope we meet on the cover sometime.
And the essence of the 33 is captured here with the orange reference, but that's inconsequential. He had his second brush with the modeling world, and it's seeming as though it's just a pocket of lost dreams headed down the drain, as all he's got to look to is an unfulfilled, up-in-the-air romance with a cover girl who most likely is not a woman, but he's so naive and new to things, he may not know that yet. And with that being said, we're going to go on to the next part, which is when he figures out the key to success in the industry.
And who is this gorgeous creature you've brought with you?
Tyler Burnett, this is Austin Klein. Austin is the publicity genius who planned this whole party.
Oh, just a worker bee doing his best.
Oh, don't be modest, Austin. Everybody knows you're the queen bee.
Well, let's go into the party.
Just got the cover of GQ.
Oh, Gary, congratulations.
Well, you're still the most beautiful agent in the business, huh?
Thank you.
Right on, cowboy.
What an ingrate. He signed with another agency the other day.
Why?
Because his brains are in what he's going to fall on without me to represent him.
I'm going to go use the restroom, okay?
I just want to sum everything up to this point. So he's gone to a club where it's sort of an out in the open, cross-dressing, do as thou wilt extravaganza. And so far we've seen homosexual people. We've seen now a transgender person who's, you would think back then wouldn't be featured on primetime TV, but they were, interestingly enough. And then we had somebody dressed up like the devil, or at least a sultan of some sort, in all red, the guy who made the cover of GQ, and we're about to find out why he made the cover of GQ in just a second.
Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever.
We just stay here.
Tyler, people commit crimes to get invited to this sort of party.
Bunch of weirdos and queers.
I have told you not to use those words. You know, of course, that Chuck is gay.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't too hard to figure.
Doesn't bother you living with him?
No, it doesn't bother me. It's different. It's a friend of mine.
Oh, really? Then why are you so damn judgmental about all the others? Why don't you just accept the fact that we are all free to live our own lifestyle and do exactly what we please, okay? Come on, I'm thirsty. Buy me a drink.
Just want to say that that's a lie from the pits of hell. We can't just do as thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law like Aleister Crowley or some junk. We need to follow the 10 Commandments that God set forth in motion.
Hey, Dylan. Oh, I am going to have you blacklisted.
Hi, Ward. It's good to see you, too.
I've got you on conflict of interest with Veronica Davis in that Supermint commercial.
Could we talk about this on Monday?
She signed a contract.
It ran out.
The hell it did.
Tyler, would you get me a scotch and water, please?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get the lady a scotch and water.
Please.
Oh, boy.
Please, Tyler. I'm thirsty. I really wish that you would not bring the subject up.
Scotch and water. 2. Please.
Have you been to the private rooms yet? That's where all the action is.
I'll check it out later.
Now, don't wait. Well, what makes you think you're so tough, Dylan? Oh, you are. What?
Oh, why wait? Come on, I'll show you the way.
Oh, you are. What makes you think just because you are a woman that you can do the kinds of
sorry. Are you out of your mind?
I'm getting out.
You are not getting out.
Watch me.
It's at this point that he tries to run away from his manager, boss, and handler, and he causes a commotion. Now, I only have 2 more parts to highlight in this whole entire film, but this is the chunk of most important scenes that I thought stood out in this movie, because I really do think that they accurately presented the modeling world and what it consists of. You get discovered in a sort of out-of-fashion way that seems like it came out of midair, in this case literally, and then you have people who try to tell you what their experiences were like, and you either listen to their warnings or you don't heed to their warnings, and then you have your taste of experiences on your own, and maybe you develop a friend or a love interest along the way. Then you may get invited to a party at some point where you may see behind the veil of what happens in the modeling world. And then you may decide that you want out, but in fact you're still under contract, so you're forced to stay. So, that being said, I'm going to go to one little snippet before I get to the end of this video, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do think it's important because this was the top project he worked on in his career. Alright, so I want to get to this part. I'm sorry. Let's go a little bit further. Alright, so I want you to notice something in the skyline back there. It's in fact 666 Fifth Avenue in New York City. And I only know that that's that location because that's the location that Jared Kushner bought. And so that's how come I recognized it from so long ago. They filmed this in the early 80s, yet the location is still the same. I thought it was significant because instead of running away and like he said he wanted to do, he succumbed to the casting couch with his boss, and he's headed back there now in the limo. And throughout the rest of the movie, he's just gonna keep on descending further and further into the belly of the beast until he wants out. And the truth of the matter is, you don't ever get out of this sort of thing unless you pretty much by happenstance, or you're gonna have to bleed out. Like, they want you dead if you want to get out alive. So in a way they kind of didn't tell the entire truth in this movie about what the modeling world is really like. Like, you can have success, but it's only going to be temporary, and it's only going to be what the enemy wants you to have. And sorry, I was trying to show the billboard here, but it's only going to be what the enemy wants you to have, and if you don't want what he's giving you, then he'll usually dispose of you quite quickly, which it's so strange that I think they're telling this story, and I really do think it correlates to what they later did to him. So at the end of this movie, he tries to escape and rides off into the sunset, thinking that he has outran his problems and is headed back to normalcy. And the fact of the matter is, most people don't want to do this in Hollywood. Most people don't want to do this in Hollywood. They end up in a situation where they're offered a deal that they can't refuse, and they keep on re-signing contracts, and they just sink like into quicksand, and eventually they're just too far gone. So let the Inquisition ensue. Did John Erik Hexum sell his soul? Was his name using the word hex a subtle nod towards that? And seeing as this is one of the last interviews he gave, I decided to put it up. It's from the Merv Griffin show. Now, Merv Griffin, a little side note, Merv Griffin was like the precursor to Ryan Seacrest in terms of stature and reputation. And actually, Ryan Seacrest, there's a rumor that Ryan Seacrest was Merv Griffin's protege, and that both of them are a part of the gay mafia, and that the next protege was supposed to be Taylor Lautner. But that's an unsubstantiated claim that can't be proven, but just a little side note. But yes, this is one of his last interviews, and he's going to say some really telling things in it. And like in that last clip, I tried to highlight a moment where he was showing, his demons, and he had slit eyes. And in this clip, the reason why I saved it initially was because I thought that I saw that he had that here too, but I couldn't find it. So maybe it'll come up while we're watching, but I'm just going to play it all the way through. And then we're going to head to the last slide before we wrap it up with some scripture.
Let them applaud, Steve. This is probably the last time they'll be looking at you and me.
Well, that's the way it is.
What's going to
Cold
come out
business.
here. I know. Really big, handsome guys bug you.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. You would like to punch him, right?
Yeah.
But this guy, I wouldn't. He is bigger than both of us.
What if we...
No.
No.
We're not going to gang up on him. He is terrific. He is probably the most exciting of Hollywood's new young leading men. His career started a couple of years ago with a series called The Voyagers. Last year, he starred in the television movie which got huge ratings, called The Making of a Male Model with Joan Collins. Oh, sure, start right in. Well, he's not coming out on my stage. Well, you'll be fascinated to know that he has another television series, and it starts this fall on CBS called Cover Up, and it's a good one. Welcome, John Erik Hexum.
Didn't mean to stop it. Just wanted to say that every time that they start an interview off, they have to do that Freemason handshake, if you'll notice. They have to do it every single time.
Now, you must see and hear that audience reaction.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Always interesting when a handsome guy, and Steve, when you walked on, they did it too. Not a lot.
Sticks and stones.
No, not a lot. But why do girls always whisper to each other? You did it. The minute you walked out, they went, what are they telling you? Look at his cuffs, look at his shoes.
I have no idea. It makes it very suspicious.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Boy, that voice. Are you singing at all anymore, John?
A little bit. You know, go to class, that sort of thing, but nothing real formal.
Why don't you break the mold and come back on and sing on the show sometime.
I'd love to. We're thinking about it. We talked about this last time.
Yeah. I think you're afraid to. Huh? Are you, chicken? Come on.
Okay, I'll go do something. There's something up there. No, I will. Sometime I'll come back, I promise.
Come back and sing with the band. That would really be
Well, I'd love to.
Yeah. Sure. This is a whole new series, a cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
You play Private Eye?
Not really. I play an ex-Green Beret who's a bit irreverent and gets thrown out of the Army. And before he does, he makes a poster for the Marines, and from that gets a lot of modeling jobs, and from that becomes a successful model and works with Jennifer O'Neill, who's the photographer. And so we become foreign spies, making the world safe for democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard Anderson, old Oscar, plays our boss.
Isn't that too bad? Mm-hmm. That sounds like a great show.
That's great fun.
Yeah.
Great fun.
Did you want to do a series?
Yes. Yeah, we had spoken.
You didn't want to head towards the great big screen?
Well, yeah, but they didn't offer me, the Return of Indiana Jones. So this was the.
Did you get offered that?
Yeah. Turned it down.
Turn it down.
Not you.
That's fine. I turned it down too. Temple of Doom. I said I'm not going to be in a movie called Temple of Doom.
It's not for you, Murph.
No.
But we have great fun with it. And I have great flexibility with my character. I mean, he's a fun guy. Male model was a great time, but the guy I played in it was always upset, didn't want to leave the ranch. Nobody was nice to him in New York.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot of fun. This character has a lot of fun.
That's good. That is good. Life changed for you now? I mean, with all this success you're having? And you changed houses? And...
Well, yeah, I moved to Burbank.
You moved to Burbank?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Got a nice big house?
No, I got a house in a foreclosure sale. I hadn't seen it. The price was right, and it was just kind of... I really don't want to buy big houses and things just yet.
Well, what's it furnished like? Give me an example.
Well, it's not just yet.
You have a house in Burbank that you got in a foreclosure sale and no furniture.
Yeah, well, I just lived there with a couple of friends, and we're just sort of paying the mortgage. And I'm not there a whole lot. I just get there and pick up the phone messages and go to sleep.
Couch? You have a couch?
No.
You got a bed?
Yeah, I bought a bed about a month ago.
Oh.
So I know, I broke down. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot. I got an answering machine. That's basically it. It's kind of...
And you don't... Do you cook?
No.
You don't do a lot, right, at home there, John?
Not a lot of
Is the
dinner
house
parties.
dirty?
No. It's in disarray.
Beer cans?
Some. But they're in the corners, basically.
Tell us what is in the refrigerator, other than the old lemon that is now wrinkled.
That, a couple of beer cans and a little ketchup. That's... I don't remember where that came from, but it sort of sits there.
You really don't care about all the trappings in life?
No, I don't. It doesn't interest me a whole lot.
But suppose you come in, and you're going to with cover-up to a lot of loot. You got to change your lifestyle a little bit, get a little penthouse up here on Sunset, something like that. No?
No, I don't think so. I kind of just sort of saving it. I make my own movie. Yeah, maybe finance a movie if I have to. You never know what's going to happen.
Are you thrifty? Can I put it that way?
Yeah, real thrifty.
Cheap is the word.
Well...
Are we getting close?
Girlfriends think I'm cheap.
Oh, yeah?
But,
you don't give presents?
Not particularly. I go to Denny's a lot, that sort of thing.
I mean, because he's the opposite of that. You would think, looking at him here, he would be up at Spago every night, lingerie, signing those great big checks, Mont Maison.
No, it hurts me terribly. I mean, the food's great, but I really can't tell that much difference. And it just costs like crazy. And the studio owns this, so.
He is cheap, huh? You were involved in an arrest last night?
How do you hear about these things?
Stories get around. You made a citizen's arrest.
Well, no, I'll tell you quick what happened. I was just driving along up 405, and somebody cut me off. And the guy's swerving like crazy, and he takes off. And I'm following him because he's just about hitting a whole bunch of other people. And I'm feeling a little bit guilty if I let him, just do so. So I kind of follow him, and he takes me all the way down to L.A. We drive about 15 miles.
And you're still chasing the guy?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of honking at him and waving at him, and he's just sort of, swerving away and not paying a whole lot of attention. And he finally gets off the exit, and I kind of cut him off and jump out and open his door and say, I think you better get out. We should talk about this. And he kind of takes off up the, along the sidewalk. And that happens a couple more times. Eventually, we stop, and we have a conversation, and I tell him he better get in my car, and I'll give him a ride home. We had a little bit of a scuffle, but we kind of got along later. I bummed a cigarette from him. We talked. And then we kind of ended up at the police station. I said, I hate to do this, but I can't let you drive, and I know you're gonna if I let you go. And, he got a little upset and all that. So they arrested him. And that was it.
And now you feel bad today because...
Well, I feel a little guilty, I kind of got to know him. He wasn't a bad guy, but he was a bit wayward.
Were you in the can last night, Steve?
No, but I met the guy later on in the evening.
Yeah. Wasn't he a nice guy?
Nice fella.
Just...
Let's show him, John, a scene from your new series. And it's going to be on Saturday nights on CBS.
Saturday nights at 10 o'clock, yes.
That's a good time, CBS.
Mm-hmm. This is a little bit of the ex-Green Beret.
So I just want to pause and say that, yeah, he's trying to pawn himself off as a normal guy, but that whole citizen's arrest thing seems like a very Mason thing to do. I don't think that's something you could do nowadays without somebody getting killed also, but this clip from this series he's about to go into is going to be the last show that he works on, and it's called Cover Up. So, yes, this will lead quite nicely into the last slide here.
Stuff in this clip, and then we go to the photo session with Jennifer O'Neill and some of the girls.
Okay, it's kind of a montage. It's not an action.
Yeah, it just goes through the different stages of the character.
Here's John Erik Hexum, scene from his new series, Cover Up.
Matt, would you please try and smile?
Danny, it's 85 degrees out here, and I'm wearing wool. It's kind of difficult to smile, you know what I mean?
That's the price of glamour. Smile.
Oh, all right, we'll smile then. Now it's...
There you go. John Erik Hexum. Good luck with that, John.
Thanks very much.
Much success. And we'll come back after this message.
It just seems like either Merv Griffin or him, John Erik Hexum himself, or both of them know something's about to happen. And it seems like that show is almost impossible to create. It seems like a sketch from SNL, so I'll just let that sit there. And maybe you can ponder and discern if there's anything more to this, because honestly, there has to be. Alright, so a speculative self-induced suicide. This is him looking more decent here. Black and white, Freemasonic colors, colors of initiation. So, Hexum died October 18th, 1984. He didn't live that long at all, whatsoever. He almost died at 33, but not quite. He supposedly died of an accidental gunshot wound, and I really, really don't believe that's what happened, based off of the tomfoolery that he's been showing since he was a young man, and all the duping delight going on during that interview, and just a sort of tragic tale that's been weaved throughout his career. So here's some possible explanations as to what may have happened to him. Seeing as these people in Hollywood are a series of covens, they may have been a seasonal blood sacrifice, as during that week of October, that last week or so of October, they begin to do that sort of thing. And Joan Collins was one of the largest stars of that era in that year in particular, because they had come on to Dynasty, and Dynasty was the most popular show of that era. So that's the biggest contender of who may have blood sacrificed him, and they also co-starred with them in that movie, The Making of a Male Model. And then he could have possibly done a disappearing act like many other stars have possibly speculatively done. Or it may have actually been an intentional suicide, and he was overwhelmingly ashamed of what he had to do to become famous. Maybe somebody blackmailed him. Maybe he felt some sort of guilt. There's got to be something. But I'm just going to play a little bit of this first clip and then a couple parts of this second clip here down here. And then we're going to move to the scriptures and wrap it up. All right. So, off the bat, John Erik.
Appeal.
Okay, I wanted to try to capture something here. I don't know if you can see it, but he's got the slit eyes again, at least on the left-hand side. I don't know if you can see the right-hand side too, but he's got the slit eyes again. Couldn't point it out in the last clip. I didn't see it, but I pointed it out in the second, in The Making of a Male Model, and now here he's showing again his slit eyes. And we're gonna go skip ahead. I apologize for the crudeness of this video and how long it is, but I've been laying this off for a minute now, so I'm just trying to get through it to present this the best way I know how. So here's a scene from Mysteries and Scandals, summing up another theory of why he may have died that ties into the plot of the last show he was ever in, Cover Up.
Series, a CBS action-adventure called Cover Up. Hexum was the star as an ex-Green Beret turned male model / spy working undercover for the CIA. Did you get that? Hey, it's Hollywood, folks.
Yeah, like, if you heard what he said, but the way he said it was just such a duping delight to me, sleight of hand type of deal, because even though that's the plot of the show, it just sounds like something that could happen in real life, like someone working as a CIA agent and also a Green Beret and a model and all this stuff, and it coincides with his real life career. It just seems like he could have possibly been like an agent of some sort for the government, and maybe he just went back and got another job. Maybe he did a face-off number where he changed his face in an operation, like maybe a who knows? One person comes to mind, Joan Rivers. Yeah, I just thought that was entertaining right there. Plus the music was riveting and entertaining as well. Very, very much so. And with that being said, we're going to move on to the next video. And let's see what we have to pull out here. I'm going to pull out a couple things here and then we're going to be done.
Elated to be a part of it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Weller.
And I'm Mary Hart. Actor John Erik Hexum, who shot himself in the head last Friday, is dead. Dick Shoemaker has the story in our news studio.
Mary, apparently Hexum had no chance of survival from the very beginning. His doctor said when the co-star of the TV series Cover Up fired a .44 Magnum loaded with blanks into his right temple, the force of the explosion drove a piece of the skull deep into the brain. The police have listed it an accident. The official announcement of death came this morning.
At 7:31 on October 18th, John Erik Hexum was declared dead. Mr. Hexum was transferred to a Northern California hospital at 1:15 this morning, where at his wish and the wish of his family, his heart, kidneys, and corneas were donated for transplant purposes.
The actor had not been working in Hollywood very long. In fact, he was just beginning to make his mark.
Wait a second. Did you guys hear how fast they got rid of all his body parts? It seems like a cleanup number that I've never heard of. So as soon as he dies, they donate all his body parts. Now, despite the fact that he majored in biomedical engineering, such a young guy having that as a request and even having a will so young, it just makes no sense. But hey, maybe he thought ahead.
John Erik Hexum got his big break just 2 years ago in the NBC series Voyagers. The show didn't last long, but Hexum's career definitely was on the upswing. Next came the TV movie The Making of a Male Model with Joan Collins, and Hexum fit the role perfectly.
Your martini's getting warm, and I'm getting cold.
The young actor capitalized on his image as a male sex symbol, but Hexum worked hard at his craft. He graduated from Michigan State University with a degree in philosophy. He played...
Did you guys hear them say craft? Yes, the craft of Freemasonry I assumed he was a part of. Seems to be a confirmation of some sort.
Piano in New York while looking for acting jobs. Hexum knew his looks were important.
It gets you the opportunity to read for the job. And after that, you're on your own.
John Erik's next big break, co-starring with Jennifer O'Neill in the CBS series Cover Up. Hexum played an undercover agent, but the actor kept a sense of humor about his TV role.
Character I play is kind of a cross between Hawkeye on MASH, James Bond, Indiana Jones, and Superman. Little Mr. Magoo thrown in there.
Movie audiences saw a different Hexum in the film The Bear, starring Gary Busey as football coach Bear Bryant.
I noticed your marks are pretty good.
Thank you. Well, I'm serious about being a doctor. Ever since I was a kid.
You gonna go right to med school or no time out for pros?
Right to med school.
John Erik Hexum, his career was just starting to take off. He died at the age of 26.
Yeah. Okay, I was off with the age a little bit. I thought that he was closer to 33, but 36 is still relevant because that's 3 6s, so. All right, we're going to move on to the applicable scripture. And again, I'm sorry for this mess of a video, but I'm going to try to wrap this up. So, Matthew 16:26. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Yeah, well, if John Erik Hexum indeed did what I thought he may have done, which was displayed ever so blatantly in that movie, which seemed more like a biopic of his life, The Making of a Male Model, I do believe that he really thought that he could usurp God in a way. That demeanor in that interview of him with Merv Griffin, it seemed as though he'd thought of himself as sort of a figure that was worthy of worship, which is what they do believe once they ascend to a certain degree in their respective local Freemasonic lodge. So Romans 8:28 says, through verse 31 says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose, for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? You see, those troubles that John Erik Hexum was facing, most likely turmoil of some sort in his life, we'll never really know about. He wouldn't really have to worry about it if he had stayed on the path towards God. He wouldn't have had to run into shady characters who may or may not have decided what happened with his remains. I really don't believe that he'd want something like that done to him, having everything donated. It just seems more like a cover-up to me. And then the fact that they named the show that it was his last piece of work, Cover-Up, I can't stress that enough how so-called coincidental that is. So, and with his good looks, I think that there truly were people that would have relished in tearing him into bits. And I do say that literally. So, people in Hollywood are cutthroat and they're willing to do anything to move anyone out of their way. So I wouldn't put that past them, for them to absolutely relish in ripping this man apart. Sadly. Alright, so the last verse, Proverbs 19:21. There are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. And exactly, so no matter what you do in life, no matter which roads you go down, it's not like God's word changed at all. You changed. God's still there for you. God is still there for John Erik Hexum if he's still out there and still alive. If he's not, I pray that he repented. I really hope that he repented before he died. Sometimes, if not most times in Hollywood, people are taken very suddenly in a way, like how John Erik Hexum speculatively was killed, and they don't really get a chance to repent, and that's really sad if that's true. But I just wanted to just kind of dive into that, and I know it's a pretty extensive video, not exactly polished, but yeah, I'm just glad to have gotten this out there, and I hope that you guys enjoyed. And maybe if you guys have some further inquisitions and questions and comments, then I really appreciate it. So I look forward to seeing some interesting comments. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.